What's going on, everybody? My name is Angel, and this is Fight Over Flight. Today we have an amazing guest who went from sleeping in his car to having multiple barbershops. Let's take this journey and just talk about mindset shifts, going from poverty to thriving. And we hope you enjoy it. We hope you genuinely listen and give us feedback on these episodes. This is Josh Morales.
All right, so we're rocking and rolling?
Rocking and rolling.
Yo, I can't believe it's his birthday, dog.
I know. So
Yo, we gotta say happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Can we do the soul happy birthday though?
Yo, you need the happy birthday button right here. So
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
you got to dance, bro. You got to dance.
Happy birthday.
For those that don't know, our producer, videographer extraordinaire, Mute the Wolf on Instagram. It's his birthday today.
That's right.
He's turning a fresh
Happy
21
birthday.
years old.
Happy birthday, baby. Like he should be with his family, but he's out here with the podcast
Hustling,
right now.
man, hustling.
I love
Fight
it.
or flight.
That's right, baby.
Fight over flight. That's right. I'm so excited to be here with you guys right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like clashing of worlds for me because it's like my creative world, and Josh has been back in my creativity since like we've met, and then just like the things that we've started, it's like all coming together and converging. It's kind of like what Ty Lopez talks about, a life of integration, where nothing is separate spheres, everything is just kind of combined, all your social circles and stuff. So this is special for me, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited because, you know me, I love these interviews. This is like the heart and soul of the podcast. It's the interviews with guests, just hearing resilient stories from resilient people.
Yeah.
And we want the listeners to know that whatever they're struggling through, there are winners, there are fighters out there, like this gentleman here today, what we're going to hear from.
Definitely. It's
So
a
let's
pleasure, guys.
introduce yourself.
So I'm Joshua Morales, owner of Morali Barber House, also City Cigar Products. Rocking and rolling from originally Patterson, New Jersey. So shout out to the Art Factory.
Nice shout out.
Definitely. But it's a pleasure with you guys.
Awesome, man. So now you're saying you're owner of a barbershop. So tell us what you do for a living. You own one, two?
So coming back from, obviously I worked, lived in Patterson, worked there, probably about almost a dozen barbershops. Shout out to a few of them. But it was a wild trip to know that a barbershop is like the cornerstone of the community,
Yeah.
And you have men, boys that go there and learn how to be men, learn how to sit down, learn how to talk shit, learn how and it was crazy because when I first got brought into that world, it was not only the barbering, it was probably about 14, 15, and I was at a thrift store, a thrift shop. And my parents asked me, they were like, "Oh, you get one thing." It was one of those big ones, like in PA,
Right.
They were like, "Oh, you get one thing," and I got a buzzer. So I started cutting my little brother. I started cutting like all my neighborhood friends.
Nice.
And it was crazy,
So 15 years old you started?
Well, that was probably about 13, 14, and then like around 15, I started, I was in high school.
Yep.
Started getting my friends to get, me chipping them up. It was like
Nice.
$5 shave ups, $10 haircuts,
By the time I met Josh, you were probably 17, 16. But I lived down the road from him a little bit. But he would always have like tons and tons of people in his basement just getting haircuts.
Yeah,
And
like
people would just be
a
sitting
one man
there.
operation.
Yeah.
One light bulb on the top.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was a
fun.
lot like
I like
this
it.
place, actually. Just imagine this place dark with one hanging light bulb.
That's awesome, man.
It was cool.
So you worked your way through barbershops, and then now you own two of them, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. And what are the names again?
Morali Barber House.
Okay, and where is that? So the listeners
We have
know.
one in Mawa and one in Midland Park.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay,
New
yeah.
Jersey.
So if you're in the Midland Park or Mawa area, come get a haircut, baby.
Bergen County, and we're definitely going to be in Patterson soon. We just wanted to
Establish the
establish,
brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Damn, that's awesome.
we do a lot of outreach though in Patterson. Every year we do something for the kids, and we've done a lot of stuff with the Home Depot, ShopRite, things of that nature.
Yeah, one of the things that I was a part of for them was Cuts for Kids, which is, you go into a public school in Patterson and just all the kids that show up, give them all haircuts just for free. And it's usually around this time of year too. So it's something great that they're doing consistently.
That's
every year.
powerful, man.
Yeah, got to do it.
Yeah, giving back to your community, because you said you were born, raised in Patterson, with the school in Patterson too?
So actually, my parents, and I'm very, very thankful. And I feel like this was my transition to be able to say, from Patterson to now, my parents wanting better. And I think that's what every generation should do. You know, from Patterson, like the hustle and bustle, and then we moved up to Prospect Park, which is like borderline. Now you're like in between Patterson and Wayne, you know, those little towns.
Right.
So I got to go to Manchester. Shout out Manchester, class of 05.
There you go.
You know, old guy, damn, we're talking about like
I went to
15 years
summer
ago. Oh, man.
Yeah, I went to summer school there, and the first day that I was there, I was getting like kind of bullied by people, and I just told them that I knew Josh,
and that was it.
And that was it. They were like,
Barber,
"Oh,
bro.
snap, you cool, you cool."
It's fun stuff.
That's cool. Now, what got you into wanting to be a barber? Because so people become barbers, but then maybe go somewhere else. What made you want to stick with it and then start a business behind it?
So it's funny because throughout high school I did that, and then after the fact, I actually went to the Navy for about 4 or 5 months, and my appendix ruptured in there, so they sent me home on a medical discharge. You know, so I went through the whole boot camp process. I saw my people graduate. You know, I was mad, but it was like, you know, it was an awe-inspiring situation where you're like, you know what, I have to make a choice.
Right.
So I was there for my mom's birthday, my Christmas, New Year's. I ended up coming back after my birthday, actually, which is in February. And yeah, it was funny, man. It was like crazy because I jumped back into it and I was like, you know what am I doing? I have a skill, I can use it. I did do some corporate work for a little bit, but I remember walking into a job. I was working at a medical billing spot. I was getting paid decent money, like 15, 20 an hour, you know what I mean? And I was like, you know what, I can make more cutting hair if I just did professionally and you know, concentrated.
And that's I'm sorry,
yeah, no,
but that's a rare thing for people to kind of realize at a young age, you know, taking the skill that they have and just kind of running with it to the biggest extreme.
Well,
you
the
know?
thing that got me, I walked in on a Monday and I saw, you know, I'm the type of person, hey, how's it going, guys? And I saw people just miserable. And I was like, I don't need this. Like, I can make money myself. I just need like machines in my hands and I can do it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you set your own schedule. Yeah. You have clients that you genuinely like and that like you.
People want a master's in you know, XYZ, but if you know how to freaking build a house, you never go out of business.
Yeah, it's true. And now but tell me, because I know a ton of barbers and I know a ton of people who are in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and they're barbers. How did you take that jump to say, okay, I'm going to go from a barber to being an owner? Because that's a huge and scary jump. That's not a simple thing. So so entrepreneurs out there that are either cutting hair or they're doing something similar, how do they go from being the employee to being the owner?
Yo, shout out Poland Spring.
Oh, yeah.
Bleep that out.
Yeah, bleep that out because they're not paying us, man.
It was a process of me realizing that I can make bank doing this. And I think it's just a professionalism. Everybody wants to be... so there's two types of barbers. There's, you know, your hood barbers, which I love, but they're like smoking weed in the shop and like, you know, listening to like rap music with cursing, which is, you know, cool in a certain, I guess, setting, but you have a mom there with a kid and it's like, you know.
Yep.
So, and then there's barbers that are like, okay, let's try to be on point. Let's try to do things a certain way, elevate the service. You know, people are paying us for the service. You know, let's be conscious of that. I'm not saying I do it all the time. You know, I might run late on Angel if he comes by, you know. But there's definitely no, like, smoking weed in the shop and you know, rap music.
So you keep it professional.
Yeah, you have to.
Now, what was your, like, to go from the barber to the owner, what was, like, the scariest thing for you?
It was making sure that not only you're taken care of, because being a barber is like you're in the community, and it's funny because the dynamics of it is like you're in a shop, but like here I can rent a chair for like $200. So now if my clients go to you, I'm gonna be like, yo, you know what I mean? You're taking money out of our pocket. But now in a professional setting, it's like everybody's together, and like me as a boss, I'm like, okay, if you're eating and Angel's not, then what am I doing wrong? Before it was just like, yo, listen, I'm good. I have my people.
So it was the shift from saying, like, I have to look out for my own, build my own clientele, to now I have a group of people that are relying on me.
Yeah, the collective.
The collective, right. Yeah, because it takes, in my opinion, it kind of seems like it takes a different kind of leadership within the barbershop world to really run a shop, because you have to be relatable, you have to know the ins and outs of the business, and you have to be able to kind of say.
Half of it is a haircut, but half of it is a personality.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Well, that's something like, you know, going to barbershops, and I've been to a ton of different barbershops. I've been to hair salons, and I've been to different places, and the atmosphere is always different. And I think that would
stop by us, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in, dude. I'm coming in. I mean, that's it. Now that I meet you, because that's the time I want to get a haircut by someone who is a professional, but also creates an atmosphere that is welcoming. Because you can go to places like you're saying, you know, there's weed, there's this, there's that. But then I've been into some places where, because that's a therapeutic experience. Right. Go to a barbershop or a hair salon.
It's an escape.
That's an escape, man. You get to talk about, like, women that go to female ones, men that go to male, you get to talk, you get to just, you know, talk about life, enjoy the moment, you know, laugh.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
big, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do the after hours with the guys, or, you know, we do, you know,
that's awesome.
wedding parties, you know, so, but this is a time and place for everything, you know.
Good for you, man. Sure. Good for you. Now, now we're going to kind of get deep now. We're going to dive into it. Now that we know a little bit about you, owner of 2 barbershops, you're a successful entrepreneur, you're doing amazing.
So hold on.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
What is successful?
Well, what's it to you?
I have the logo on my shirt.
There you go.
That's nice, you know.
Yeah, it's nice.
No.
Well, for me, I mean, I don't know, and you can give me your definition of it. For me, success is when you can just continuously get better in whatever you're doing. So if you want,
I like that.
Yeah. So if you're a husband,
that's a good definition.
Be a husband better now than you were last week. Yeah. If you went from being an employee to an owner, and the way that you're talking about your leadership, saying that you want all of your barbers to eat, and you're not going to say, well, I'm going to make all the money. No, like, let me take care of them. And you care about your customers, obviously. So all of that, to me, that just screams success, you know?
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the metrics that you go by too, right? Mm-hmm. So success in business doesn't automatically equal success in your relationships or in your home life. And a lot of times people may think it's like one or the other, but really, in my opinion, a truly successful person knows how to manage and interact and intersect all those areas of their life and say all of them are healthy. Maybe you're not a billionaire, but at least
a fun balance.
Yeah, at least you're in a healthy place.
Yeah, and you know, and from my experience so far with you, I think that's you, man. You're trying to thrive, because you said it. You want to open up in Patterson. That's a thriving spirit, you know?
I mean, it's only right, you know?
Yeah, it's a thriving spirit, and I like it.
Got to get back to the hometown.
Yeah, man.
So let's dive in a little bit, because there's a lot that we've talked about just throughout the years of knowing you that I kind of want to highlight within this, and I want to make sure we get to it.
Whatever you guys want to do.
So what was, like, let's say, top 2 most traumatic things that you've kind of experienced in your life, not necessarily in business, you know, just in general life, and the things that we go through as men, you know?
Top 2.
Maybe just one that comes to mind.
Yeah, and
there's like so many that comes to mind right now.
No, you can just start talking about it, not even the top 2, because right now what we want is we want the people to see. Okay, because right now I look at you, I meet you, you're a successful entrepreneur, you're a family man, you know, you're a giving man, you're this, you're that. Now, were you given all of this your whole life, and then you just kind of fell into it? How did you get this? What were the roadblocks, things of that nature? So if anyone's struggling, they could know.
I guess I'll give you guys a timeline.
Perfect.
Right? Grew up in Patterson by School 15, which is like, it's like by East Side, way on the other side of town, on the wrong side of the tracks. But, you know, it was a good learning experience, because, you know, I've learned that if you show respect to people, people will respect you, you know? So, and then parents moved up. That was maybe like, you know, 10, 12. Parents moved up here for about middle school, high school era. And I started selling, you know what lean beds are?
No.
Oh yeah, little ices.
Yeah.
Literally, all you have to do is pour juice in a cup.
It's the ices,
and freeze
baby.
it,
I love
and then you sell them. You know,
coconut's my favorite.
25 cents, 50 cents a pop. You know,
yeah.
They're coconut, cherry. You know,
it's a Puerto Rican thing.
Yeah, it is definitely. So you start. So I started selling those with my brother, and then I started going to a barbershop. My mom used to take me for haircuts by her stylist, and I was like, "Mom, my haircut's not like my friends." You know what I mean? Like I don't have the lines. So you finally go to a barbershop, I was like, yeah, I can do this. Fast forward, go to this thrift center, get a machine, start tripping my friends up, and yeah, after that, it was just a process. So moving forward, I ended up going to Manchester, and after that point, really realizing the whole thing with school and the professionalism. After that, it really started getting real. So during high school, and I don't encourage this at all, but it really taught me how things work.
What do you mean by that?
So I started selling like weed when I was in high school, and because it was so convenient, because I was in my, basement cutting hair.
Right. It was easy to just make it a part of the
yeah.
services.
And it was just like, hey, yeah, you need this,
Right.
Which obviously I was a stupid kid for. But it taught me the value of being a necessity, if that makes sense.
So like supply and demand, right? The invisible hand of the market. It's like if everybody's looking for this and you're the person that can provide
but more
it.
like if you're the cool guy.
Okay. So you're talking on a social level.
On a social level, because that's currency, right? That's what you guys are doing here. That's what Instagram followers do. That's,
Right.
So after that point, that's when it really became like, okay, barber, now you're like the center of the town. You know everybody. I know everybody for everything. And now I'm like, back then I used to run away from cops, but now I'm like cool cops. And I love when we get 20% off for any public officials here. There
you go.
Yeah, definitely.
So you start selling, right? Is that something that you were conscious of going into it? Like, I know this is a wrong choice, but this is something that I'm going to do anyway? Or was it something that was just opportunistic? Like, I'm just going to go with this because, who's going to stop me? Like, what was your mentality like when you made that choice?
Influence.
What do you mean?
Because I used to hang out with some like older gentlemen who I remain anonymous.
So it was like you saw people that you respected.
Yeah.
Right. And then you just kind of took that role as what they were doing.
And I feel like that's the problem, bro. I saw dudes wearing Jordans, rocking jerseys, 3X jerseys back in the day.
Yeah. If you're from Jersey or New York, you know what we're talking about. Yeah. Oversized pants and all that.
But
so to the kid, to the 14-year-old now that's saying, okay, I know I can make a few extra dollars to buy Jordans, and I look up to these 17, 18, 20-year-olds that are selling drugs. Like, what's your advice to them?
There's no 401k in selling yay, bro.
There you go. I like it.
So did that progress? Now you say selling yay, obviously that's different.
I mean, yeah, but it's I guess same. I mean, I've tried my best. I feel like weed is like a slap on the wrist.
Especially nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, especially now. But
you could probably
not to justify it, because obviously you can be so much more productive without it. But I would just say, there's no longevity in that type of lifestyle. And that's why I kind of like, and I told my friend this, a while ago. The average price for an ounce of weed is maybe like $200-300. You can get your real estate license for $200-300.
There you go. I like
that.
What
I mean?
Yeah.
I like
so
that.
like which one, which
so
one
you're
is
saying
better?
if you can take your hustler spirit and take it away from the illegal game and put it in the legal game, you can make so much more money.
Yeah.
When was that realization for you?
This was maybe about 10 years back.
Okay. Because we grew up together, so by the time we were 18, 19, by the time I got back from college, I'll say that, you were married, right? Is that okay to talk about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
you were
yeah.
married the
Oh
first
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And
that
this was
fun.
and this was still something that you were taking part of. So you were
Okay, yes. So I come back from the Navy.
Okay.
And I get married. Don't get married out of like loneliness. That's like
Good advice.
right? It's like, oh, I'm cold. So I'm just it's a little brisk out here. I should have wore the long shirt.
Oh,
not
yeah,
the,
over here,
not the
yeah,
polo,
cold.
I'm cold, so I'm gonna sign the illest contract ever made for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So you get married right out of the Navy. What happens?
Get married for all the wrong reasons. This one I'm like, really going off the deep edge. But shout out to her. Shout out to her, because the one thing that she did tell me was there was one night that I was gonna go make a drop, and she just said, she was like, "Listen, I don't have a good feeling. Don't go out tonight." And I didn't. And come to find out, the dude who I was gonna drop it to got pulled over, and they knew who I was. And then after that point, I pretty much, whatever I had left, I got rid of, and
that was it.
And that was it.
So it was like that wake up call.
That was it.
Like, that was too close. Right.
So shout out to you.
Yeah, no,
you know who
real,
you are.
Yeah. No, you know what? And that's, and there's too many stories where people sell drugs, rob people, do burglaries, and it takes them spending time in prison to then realize, oh, I can't do this anymore. So,
Sure.
It was, a blessing to you that it happened before, and you said, you know what? I'm going to stop, because you could take two roads, right? This is like the trauma we talk about. You could take two roads. You could say, okay, I got away with it today. I'm unstoppable. Like, I just got someone on my side. I'm going to keep doing this.
And that's what happens. Yeah.
You could take the road that you did that now led you to this. Now, do you have any kids?
I have a beautiful 11-month-old that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boy, girl?
Boy.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, I joke around with the wife, and I tell her all my exes forgave me. Because, I got the boy first.
Well, I tell you what, man, congratulations to you, because
thank you, sir.
This is something that we talk about now. If there's kids listening, and, if they're 16, 17, 18, and they're thinking about getting that quick buck, they could just say, okay, well, maybe we didn't do that, but you did. And you said, you know what? You're giving them a message of, this is not the path. Put it towards the right entrepreneurship, and you could have a beautiful family like you have now.
And you could tell me what you think about this, but since you're around a lot of young people all the time, it seems to me like there's a big amount of energy that young guys have in particular that gets missteered, like it gets misdirected really easily. It takes something super simple for them to just get a little bit off focus, and then that's the trajectory of their life.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I ended up getting a student credit card when I was 18.
Wow.
And then throwing a hotel party, maxing out the credit card.
I think I went to that party.
you might have. Yeah. And it was wild. And it was horrible, because I could have used that to open up a business at the time, or, be smarter. Invest in the future, invest in real estate, invest in things that don't go out of style. Hair always grows. I never go out of business. So long as I have my two hands, I
love that.
I think that's where it starts to make sense. The old saying, "Youth is wasted on the young." Because when you're that young and you have all that energy and you have all these desires, it's easy to just kind of do the first thing that pops up instead of thinking long term with longevity and planning something that has a foundation and structure around it.
So if you knew, this is one of our questions, is that if you knew what you know now, back then when you were 15, 16, what would you have done different? Or even better question, what would you tell your son when he's 10, 11, 12? How would you set him up?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. I would smack myself upside the head, honestly. But I would tell him that life is hard.
Yeah, life is suffering.
Amen to that.
Yeah, and I think it just takes learning how to engage with life properly to really excel in it. And I think that's what being a father is really about. It's about giving direction to the kids that you father, right? Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. Obviously, I never want him. I'm gonna make sure that he doesn't know what it's like to suffer.
Right.
I remember a time when, we were living in Patterson, and we thought the car got robbed, but it really got repoed.
Oh, wow.
So I'll make sure that he never knows that. But also at the same time, if I may, pardon my French, life fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Be real.
Yeah, it's hard. And everybody likes the glitz, the glamour, the IG, the nice things, but I think it's the things that you do behind the scenes that matter. And it's fucking hard.
So how do we prepare? You're a father to your son, but you're also basically like kind of a father to the people who come into your shop. So how do we prepare them? If we say life sucks, which we all know, but that's what we like to talk about. Hey, that's why it's fight over flight, because we got to fight.
Fight over flight. And
have to.
That's why I love this.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is I have to separate myself from that mentality. And I have to say, listen, you have certain obligations, certain responsibilities. Handle your handles. You know?
I think you're really good at being objective in the face of suffering. One of the reasons that Josh and I connect is because he more so, I think, taught me the ability to just say, all right, X, Y, and Z is happening and life is really hard right now. What is the objective solution from this? Removing emotion, removing any kind of like biased perspective. How do I get out of this now? You know, let's not worry about the fact that we're in it and and be like all melodramatic about it. Let's figure out a solution to this. And I think that's one thing that he's really helped me kind of implement into my own character.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah, big time.
There's an old saying I heard from a movie. It said, my heart is for my family, but my balls are for business.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really good. So there's a low point in your life that I kind of want to touch on, and you tell me if it's cool to go there.
Yo, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, I just want to make sure. I want to put it on record that I asked permission. So there was a point after your first marriage where you were sleeping in your car, and you were even sleeping in the art factory where we're recording this right now.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, so I'm a firm believer in the fact that, you know, well, granted.
Let me just say before you go into it, you did stay at my house for a little while. It's not like I knew you were sleeping in your car and I didn't do anything about it. Yeah.
It was, you know, it was warm on the basement floor.
Yeah.
So that's the trauma.
My room was in the
that's
basement,
right now digging deep into what happened in your life. And
right. So you're at a point now, and let me just paint the picture real quick for people that are listening. You're at a point where you're sleeping in your car. You're going to work every day still. You're living out of the minimal things in your car, but you also have a storage unit in town, and you're just parked next to the storage unit, and that's where you sleep every night. I remember being there with you.
I had a gym membership, and I used to just go there just to like take a shower, stuff like that. That was fun. Yeah,
I remember being there with you and thinking to myself, like, this is the wake-up call of wake-up calls, you know? And I don't know if that's coming from, like, a professional standpoint or what, but, I mean, we've had real deep moral arguments.
Yeah, I mean, no, definitely, because it's like at that point, that's where my kind of compartmentalization comes into, because I'm like, okay, so long as you have the basics of life, you're good. Like, what's wrong? You have people, I think a stat is, if you have more than 2 pairs of shoes, you're richer than 80% of the world. You know, it's crazy. And we're sitting here like, oh, I don't have the new iPhone, but, you know, there's kids in freaking that don't have clean water, and they're dying from freaking, you know, diarrhea. You know what I mean? Which is stupid.
Yeah. So this is the fight in your fight over flight, I'd say, this era.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what was it like being there? What was your mindset? Where did you go from there to say, like, things have to change, man?
Yeah, and if you could walk me through, because I don't know your story.
Right. Yeah, sure.
And neither do neither do the listeners. So if you can, because that seems like your rock bottom moment, your moment where you end up building this resiliency. So if you could just, you know, take me through it, man.
So
living in your car.
So after that fact, so I ended up living in my car because of mom.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
So I break up with my ex. And I'm mad at her because she took the Xbox and the dog. You know what I mean? You can't take both. You can't take both. Come on, give me one. You know what I mean? Right. Anyway, so I break up with her, and then, you know, I move out, and I get like a little studio apartment, and my mom and dad separate, and at that point she couldn't. I'm sorry, she was, it was like a crazy conundrum that she couldn't like pretty much stay where she was at. So I gave her my apartment, you know, my little studio apartment. I'm like, Mom, you know, and I put all my stuff into storage. And then, long story short, I stayed in my car for like probably like 2-3 months.
Wow.
And I was just rocking out, like going to work every day, like nothing happened. I would take my clothes in the steam room and just like hang them up and like, you know what I mean? And nobody knew.
Yeah, I think that's one of the surprising parts for me is that if you would go to his job, because he didn't have the barber house yet, he was working for another barbershop. If you were to go there, you would have.
I'm always buttoned up, you know what I mean? Like looking.
And you were taking a shower in the gym.
Yeah.
And putting your clothes in the steam room.
Clothes in the steam room, sleeping in the car.
How did you think? Did you ever think that? I mean, that's crazy, man. Did you ever think there was a way out?
I knew I had a skill I could fall back on.
Because 3 months, though, can seem like 3 years in a really bad situation.
Right.
I mean, after that, so for that 3 months, I was still, mind you, paying for the apartment for, moms. And then, I was just grinding so then I can get my own. So I would just like go all day, freaking grind out, and then just crash, pass out in the car and, wake up, do it the next day. It's fun.
That's crazy, man.
From an outside perspective, it seemed like those 3 months were super transformative for you in the sense of like giving you the resiliency, which we talk about all the time here, to do whatever it took to never be in that situation again. Yeah,
because, I love it. Fight or flight. Yeah. What are you going to do in the face of adversity?
Yep.
Right. Right. I mean, that's where true character shines, right? Yep. It's like when you're in the face of adversity. The way I'm sorry.
No, man, it's just I'm still like wrapping my head because like the story. So me hearing it for the first time is crazy because I'm just looking at it as, I'll just say January, right? Okay, January 7th, I'm in my car. The next day I work 10 hours or more. January 25th, I'm still in the car. February 3rd, I'm still in the car. Like, how do you...
Thankfully, it wasn't that cold. I think it was like during like the summer, fall months.
And that's like the optimistic view, right? Yeah. Of the positive.
Well, it wasn't cold out.
Right, the positive of sleeping in a car. Yeah. How do you, for the person now that's saying that they don't have enough money, or they think they don't have enough money to get by in life, or they think that they're only going to be able to make enough to just pay the bills, they can never excel. How do you go from someone who sleeps in their car for months, takes a shower at the gym, still goes to work professional, and then now owns 2 barbershops? I mean, that's like a crazy shift. Because I know people who have more money than sleeping in a car, and they still think that they can't get out of their rut.
Right. They still think that nothing is going their way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you say in that car, like, what was that mindset to be, like, to just be so resilient through that?
I think it was more of a fact of, like, what are the necessities of life? You know what I mean? And for all the guys that think they're, the man of the house and all that, you need a house. You know what I mean? Well, I would say first 2 is car and phone. You can't make no moves without that, and then eventually, if you want to start, getting serious with a girl, whatever the case may be, then house, and then now you have to start thinking about other things, kids, all that stuff. But these are basics of life. Anything after that, it's like, what are you wasting your time on? Chasing after this girl, I love her, she loves me, she doesn't love me. Not like that's a waste of time.
How do you go to work dressed professional and act professional when you're in a living situation like that? Like, what's your mindset? How do you do that? Because I know people who have phenomenal careers and their mindsets are in the gutter. So how do you go from knowing what you're going through
and what you're going home to,
right, to still be able to do a good job at work, be professional, make people laugh, and change lives at the barbershop?
Respectfully, these people pay me for my time.
Interesting.
So it's just that sense of worth, that you know what you're worth.
Yeah, like they're paying me to hang out with me, essentially. Like, I'm cutting their hair, but I have a conversation like I'm having with you with them, and I had known guys for years, and we hang out. I go to their kids' birthday parties,
So it's a sense of duty. It's a sense of
absolutely.
Duty is probably the right word.
Yeah,
for
duty.
it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Because you could have just said, all right, I'm never gonna get out of my car. I quit. I'm going to go do heroin because this is going to be my life.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that in a lot of ways is way easier than the counter.
Yeah, but that's like stopping yourself. If you're falling, where do you stop yourself? Right. And don't get me wrong, at that time I was like really, I was like freaking, smoking weed excessively, drinking. I never really went beyond that, thankfully. I think it was my mom's prayers.
That lady don't stop praying for you.
Nope. Thank you, Mama.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, I think it's just a sense of like, I have to do better.
I want to further the timeline a little bit because I know how you transitioned And I think like when you're telling the story, it's just like
I don't know. I'm getting like lost in moments.
It's all the lights, and also he does monologues. He doesn't he doesn't answer questions. Right. He's like Schmidt from New Girl. You ever seen that?
No.
Yo, that's a horrible reference. I do. Yo, because of you, wifey, I watch New Girl. Yo, that's a horrible reference. Bro.
It's perfect actually. Right after you were. That's exactly it. I just came up with.
It's horrible.
Right after you were kind of in your car, the only reason you got out of there was because you found a place at the art factory.
Yes. Shout out to the art factory.
Can you tell us what that was like and the fact that you weren't really supposed to live here? Like you're not really supposed
where
to.
Where we're shooting right now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is why I like full circle, and we're talking about again. You know, as of this point, you're like 15 years ago. No, maybe like 10. Yeah.
10 years.
But still, you know, like 10 years ago.
So now you're sleeping in the art factory, which for people that don't know, it's just
it's a
so
warehouse.
I put a barber chair there. Like dope ass warehouse. I put a barber chair there. Had a futon. Had like a cabinet that was closed, so nobody knew what was in it, and I had a desk. And
at the time, the art factory was really new, so nobody really knew what it was yet. You know, you could get some office space, but the office space was really just like, what is it? Plywood, and and you're sectioned off into different rooms, and then there's the common area, and that's really it. There's not a kitchen, there's not private bathrooms or anything. So your setup was essentially, once again, just kind of covering the fact that you didn't have anywhere else to go. Like the futon went up into a couch as soon as the door opened, and that was really the long and short of it.
I always made money cutting hair though.
Oh, and you had a barber chair in there too.
Yeah. Now, how did you, when you got out of this, right, and now you get into your first apartment or whatever what was the gratitude of that?
Actually, in my adult life, I think I've only cried maybe 2 or 3 times. 2 of my funerals, and one of them when me and my brother actually got our mom an apartment.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that was powerful,
like,
man.
Yeah, it was. I'll never forget that. That was awesome.
Now, your brother, is he younger than you?
2 years younger. Yeah.
Okay. So I met your brother at he got baptized at our church, House of Worship. Yeah, he seemed like a really good guy, man.
Yeah, he's better than me. I tell him all the time. I'm like, yo, be better, bro. Be smarter than me.
Yeah. So you two are like building this little empire together.
Yeah, definitely. Like a yin and yang,
Very much yang, very much yang. They're on 2 opposite sides. It's great.
but it's good balance, though.
It's a good balance, for sure.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
So now, when you obviously the grind didn't stop when you got out of living in the art factory because you got an apartment and now
the grind never
got a
stops.
business, and then now your trajectory is just up and up and up.
That's it, brother. It's I think it's just a sense of like knowing what you want. My goal is to have like a farm, little winery.
Oh, really? Oh, nice, man. That's interesting.
Little winery, little bed and breakfast.
In Jersey or down south somewhere?
Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. I mean, it'd be nice. Just I would like to stay around here, but a little warmer wouldn't be bad.
I want to ask this because this is a lot of what we've talked about. Spirituality. What role do you think that played throughout this whole journey? So you go from, selling drugs, and you're married at the time. Now you're divorced. You're using drugs, weed, not But
sure.
Now you're living by yourself in a factory, and like you're going through all of these trials. You're going through all of these tests. What does God look like to you? Where does it line up within all of these kind of down moments and up moments?
I'm very, very grateful. God is good. If I can be honest, of course.
Be completely candid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't deserve God's favor over my life, and that's why I do the things that I do. And even in this whole process of me and it's really my decisions. A lot of people say, oh, it's the devil. It's like, no, I chose to do this. I chose to do that.
Right.
And like once we start taking, responsibility for our actions, it doesn't become like, oh, the devil did this. It's like, no, Josh, you were just stupid. You know, like, you
take responsibility.
You fell in love with a stripper, Josh. That's like, you know, like you messed up. You know.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. I had a pastor tell me that we need to not worry about the devil as much as worrying about what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that I said, wow, you know.
It's so true. I mean, just from what Scripture says, like the devil, the enemy, whatever you want to call him, presents options, and he just presents them. And then it's up to us to agree or disagree with whatever they're presenting to us. And I think that's one of your main points is like the decisions that you make formulate and they create what your life is going to be, regardless of what options are placed in front of you. And I think it's just the wisdom in knowing what options to pick and which ones to not pick, you know?
But I think it's also, you know, the devil knows, bro. He's never going to tempt you with an ugly girl, you know?
I love it. That's good.
You know,
it's just opening more and more. I like it.
You know what I mean? He knows, bro.
Opening up. It's
This
opening
isn't
up.
anything.
Yeah, I like it.
He knows, bro.
I like it.
You know, if you're not you know, I don't do crack, bro. So he knows, like,
Yeah.
if you have a crack rocker, I'm not going to, like,
Right.
I'm like,
Right. It's very specific things that present themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So in the context of like spirituality and stuff, what were the times where you were leaning on God the most? Were you leaning on God at all? What was that like, and where are you at now with that?
So God knows my heart, you know, and I will say this respectfully, but also humbly. There's a huge difference between being religious and being about that life. And I'm the type of person that I'm not going to play God. You know, I feel like there's certain principles in life. You know, you don't mess with a person's family. You don't mess with a man's money. You know what I mean? And you don't mess with God. You know, so I know that I would genuinely say, if somebody tells me right now, hey, I'm going to chop your head off, do you believe in God or not? I'm like, yep, absolutely. You know, but it's not that easy.
Right.
You know, it's like more like on a daily basis. So I rather kind of allow God, and he has been, you know, really working in my heart and doing these things that I know it's all his favor and all his mercy. There should have been times that I shouldn't be here with you guys, you know, genuinely. But
And did you think about that just now because you're doing well, or did you think about that when you were going through your struggle too?
All along. But I guess the things that I'm actually thinking about are like, you know, I should have been caught up in so many other avenues. You know, from drugs to you know, maybe having a kid prior to that could have deviated my whole course. You know, drinking and driving one night. You know.
Right.
Yeah, but so thank God.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Now, this is something right here that we ask. You know, what is, you know, what you went through, right? What are specific roadblocks that people are gonna face? Now we're gonna talk about straight up. Say college isn't for me. I know it doesn't just have to be a barber. Say they have a specific skill, whether it's a barber, painting, anything. That's like the entrepreneurial spirit. What are the roadblocks that you faced, right? Like money, pressure, drugs, whatever. How do you tell people now that are listening, like how to get past those roadblocks? Is it more mentally? Is it leaning on God? Is it leaning on family? What's like the critical things for you to get past the roadblocks in your life, going to the next stage of your life, I should say?
I think the major things are what's your structure? You know, like what are your principles? You know, and I could genuinely say without a shadow of a doubt that I do believe in God wholeheartedly. And it's not because of, you know, the crucifix on the wall or my tattoos with the crosses or, you know, because, you know, my mom said this or, you know, I heard that. It's because it makes sense. You know, you don't do dirt to people. You don't kill people. You don't, like, steal from people. You know what I mean? Like, basic stuff. You know
so
what I mean?
You're saying principles will get you through all roadblocks.
And I feel like those principles would now say, okay, despite how mad I am, because now you have to separate principles from emotions. Despite how mad I am, I'm not going to act out like this because I have this principle. which ultimately has to come from a godly principle, because if you have no principles, then you're just
right.
That's interesting.
You're that guy.
One of the things we talk about a lot is being able to rely on something outside of yourself, and if that something isn't eternally good, then it's the shaky ground to rely on it, right? Because then you're putting your hands and you're putting your life in the hands of something that's not necessarily unflawed. Yeah. So concrete. So I think that's a great piece of advice for anybody that's young, that's old, that's going through life, kind of unaware of how to navigate it, right? It's like, set your principles, understand why you have those principles and where they come from, and then don't deviate from them because of emotion.
Definitely.
I think that's such a wise thing that it takes a long time to develop.
I think that's probably one of the greatest points, is that's what you're saying, is that you have your principles and don't let your emotions of being poor, doing this, doing that.
Yeah, because all that is temporary.
I like that, man.
Yeah, that's a great.
Like, you think back at high school, obviously we're all a little older. Yeah. 4 years, that was like,
yeah, that came and went super quick.
1 semester is like, oh shit, like, what can you change in 3 months?
Yeah.
Right.
It takes 6 months to affect your credit score, a year. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
so let's wind it down a little bit. Let's start kind of wrapping this thing up. Can you read that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, all right. So this is one thing that we like to ask, because you are resilient. You are a fighter. You chose to fight, and you didn't choose to take flight. So having gone through what you've went through, you fought, and you won. So can you please tell the listeners now how important it is to fight through what we like to call the storm, to fight through the storm and not take flight on life? So how important is it, and why is it important?
I don't know if this is personal. I mean, it's both personal and business advice, but if you don't make your own dreams happen, somebody else will pay you to do so. Whether you pay with your time, with your energy, with your emotions, resources, at the end of the day, you're going to pay. So why not invest in yourself instead of essentially, banking on somebody else to make your dreams come true, which is never going to happen.
Right.
And the sense of entitlement is false. I think it's more of a fact of, like, do what you have to do, despite whatever.
So you're saying in all situations you have to fight because
I would encourage everybody to do some type of martial art. Because I feel like martial arts is it's a very pure energy. It's like either you're either offensive or defensive. I try to stay in shape, do tournaments every once in a while,
nice.
Just get in it. But it's a very I think about it like, shoot, if I don't work, I'm not gonna provide for my family.
Right.
Just like if I was being attacked, if my wife and kid were like right here and being attacked, like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
No, I'm sorry.
So taking flight has never been part of your DNA.
Can't be.
I like that. Good.
Yeah.
No other way.
Can't be.
I like it.
I think there's a lot of people that maybe do take flight because they've never experienced that kind of, I want to say, animalistic need for survival. Yep. Right. And so because if you haven't gone through that, it's easy to be like, no, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that. And just out of sight, out of mind.
I would say, though, I think it's important for everybody to take a step back every once in a while. Like fight, yes, but flight, and I have to genuinely say, if you don't do that, you're going to go crazy. And I feel like that pressure that's on a lot of people. Sometimes you have to say, listen, I can't do this right now. I'm not dealing with you. Oh, whatever, you're an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And I've lost friends like that. But because I'm trying to progress, and you're sitting here bullshitting. And I'm like, listen, I need to take a step back, or I need to take a day off. Sometimes I'll just go fishing. Yeah. Like, hey, babe, I'm going to wake up early on a Sunday and just go fishing. I'll be back home by 10. I'm out by 5.
Nice.
She wants to wake up for the baby. I'm like, no, babe, I'm sleeping.
No, I like it, man. That's good. Take a step back and kind of
you have to
recharge the batteries.
At least once a week, that day of rest, that Sabbath.
Yep, recharge your batteries. I like it, man. So now, where can the listeners connect with you online? Where is your barbershops located so they can get a fresh cut?
MoraliBarberhouse.com. And I hope to see you soon.
Yes.
And it looks like you need to come by soon.
Yes.
Definitely.
And birthday boy, definitely.
Yeah. So can you spell it for us?
MORALI barberhouse.com.
Gotcha. And then where's it located?
One in Midland Park and one in Mawa.
Gotcha. They can just Google it.
Google it. We're trying to do a lot of different things now. We're trying to really expand and make it a lifestyle brand, because the haircut is just the first part, you know?
Yep. And now you're on Instagram, Facebook, everything?
Instagram, MoraliBarberhouse.com, Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Do you have any, do you have anything, Ainge? Because
No, I think we had a real productive conversation. So I think in closing, I think maybe we leave a question for the listeners. I don't know, I'm throwing an audible at you.
Yeah, that is an audible. I like it. I like it. All right, so you are getting me. Maybe the question could be, because this is, I'm still like trying to wrap my head around the whole, what would my mindset be living in a car, showering at the gym?
Right.
You know, like what could get me through that? I mean, I don't even know how you did that. So trying to think of a question for the listeners, give them a little bit of a homework assignment. You know, put yourself in his shoes. How about that?
Well, I think sometimes we get caught up in the day-to-day and forget about the big picture. And then sometimes we get caught up in the big picture and forget about the day-to-day. You know? So I would say do both.
Yeah. Have that balance.
Yeah.
All right, so wherever you are in your life, I want you to evaluate it as the listener. Evaluate it. Whatever you think that's going wrong in your life. Right? And see how you can change your mindset. So think of right now, what's the number one thing that's going wrong in your life? Right. Whether it's financial, spiritual, physical, emotional, whatever it is, find that one thing and then attack it this week.
Love it.
Right? So like if you haven't talked, if you're getting to an argument,
cut the fat out, whatever doesn't belong. You know, don't worry about that girl that's not texting you back. You know, she's not paying your bills. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, attack something meaningful today or this week. Attack something meaningful. If you haven't talked to a parent in a long time because of some fight, how about this? Let's just attack that and get over it. And let's do it together.
And share your story. You know, like comment on something. You can personal message us if you need to. Just share your story because it'll help somebody.
Without a doubt.
You guys are great, man. Fight over flight.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming, brother. Appreciate it, man.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, dog. Yeah, so don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget, we started the Facebook group, the Facebook community group. So Fight Over Flight Community on Facebook. It's a private group. Make sure you go there. We have about 230 members in a week. And people are already sharing their stories. People are being open. People are being honest. People, when they're having bad days, they're saying, hey, today I'm struggling. And then they're just getting bombarded with positive messages. So if you're not part of that. Yeah, man. So if you're not part of that Fight Over Flight community on Facebook, please request it. We'll accept you. Subscribe, YouTube, the podcast app for audio if you want to listen in the car and in the gym. You know, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And God bless.
God bless.
Amen.